Namaste, Jai Bharat. We have had terrorist attacks recently, and the people behind this terrorist activity, the attacks, and the actors, the performers, were educated people. A repeated discussion in social media that we see is that now educated people also are turning into terrorists. Medical doctors who are supposed to be professionals are willing to lay down their life for 72 hoors and Jannat. They are so convinced that this life is spurious, they are going to have a life after death. All these thoughts. And then people were amazed. They were saying, how come? How come these doctors and they're not the number runs into hundreds. Number runs into hundreds. Active, who are willing to die for jihad. And this is not 6, 7, 10. Those who are explicitly involved today who are caught, their number comes to that lemon. But those who are actively involved, who are potential terrorists, their number runs into hundreds. So why this situation is a question. Why education has not reformed them? Yes, this is the point I would like to talk about today. There was a text written in 3rd century BC which clearly tells us why such phenomenon takes place. Why such phenomenon takes place. The text is in 3rd century BC, Nyaya Sutra, written by Maharshi Akshapada Gautama. Nyaya Sutra is a much celebrated text which had bhashya, that means interpretations, rather in every 50 years. And many of such interpretations of Nyaya Sutra, these interpretations have various names. Bhashya, Tika, etc. name. And some texts have wonderful names. Nyaya Sutra, Nyaya Sutra, Gudhartha Prakashini, etc. Such wonderful names are given. And available texts are much less to lost texts. So rather the thing is that every 50 years this text had interpretations, implications, and no implications that's available today in textual form. They are running more than 40 implications. And it's interesting, initially the Sanatanis, then the Jains, then Buddhists, that long time, then again Sanatanis, to Gadadhara Bhattacharya, like till that time. Then very interesting. The text, of course, itself is greatly interesting, and then it initially starting with Jayanta Bhatta, Annam Bhatta, etc., Kashmiri scholars, and then comes down through Jainism, Buddhism scholars, and to again back to Hindus. So does it not ring a bell? Whether one is Jain scholar or Bauth scholar, their universities, Buddhists had 7 lakhs universities in Bharat once upon a time. They were handling the same knowledge system. So Bharatiya knowledge tradition, which is the Veda Upanishadic knowledge tradition, is a continuous process. That's what you should, that bell should ring in you. The point is this. The point is what Maharshi Gautama said. He makes a distinction between, you have to interpret it to speak of this. He makes a distinction between information and knowledge. Simply he says that knowledge worth the name must have the property of affectivity. Badhita, he says in Sanskrit. Knowledge worth the name must have the property of affecting the knower. That is affectivity. Now how does knowledge affect the knower? The affectivity of information to a knower should be through refining the knower. That is, through purifying the knower. It's a process of purification. Information that purifies the person who receives information develops or turns into knowledge only when that information, which is extremely positive, affects the knower through a process of refining the knower into finer existence. That is, in Sanskrit, it's a process, a prakriya of sputikarana. The knowledge worth the name should affect the knower through a process of refining him. It means refining is simple. Removing the impurities, removing all impurities and keep making a man pure. Then only the information becomes knowledge to a person. Only such persons can be called as knowledgeable persons. There are people around us. There are people in academia. There are professors in universities who are lettered, who are great scholars, who have information, but you find out how many have knowledge. You make this distinction between information and knowledge. If the information did not affect the person, he remains raw, unrefined. His perceptions could be erroneous. He makes judgments where not necessary. And he would be wrong at many places without he himself really realizing that he would be wrong, because he considers himself as a very lettered scholar. People accept his scholarship. But the scholarship is peripheral, because by not affecting his self, call it as Atma, call it as soul, knowledge affects the soul. Make you pure, refined soul. Then you can call him as a knowledgeable man, or in more popular terms, wise man. Then he is wise man. If this does not happen, we have many people who have a lot of information but not knowledge. Now, don't get upset about these hundreds of doctors who turn into jihad. Yeah, they have information, not knowledge. This is the only point I wanted to make. They have information, not knowledge. Since they are not refined, these things make no sense to them. They will act as animals. They will act as brutes. They will act as barbarians. They will function, not act. They will function as barbarians. They will enthusiastically behead a person with a small knife, because they are unrefined, uncivilized in another expression. Unrefined, uncivilized. They have the ways barbaric because they follow something which is barbaric. You have to listen to me as I am. You are essentially wrong and I am essentially right. You listen to me, and if you don't listen to me, then you die. Simple. Very simple logic. This kind of barbarism they carry within them. So these people are unrefined. So no matter, there are hundreds of doctors who are jihadis today, we are finding out. Many of them are in custody, should be in custody. They should be interrogated to find out about the networks in which they are in, or the network which made them what they are today. And a person, a medical doctor, just explodes himself. You can't call him as illiterate. He is illiterate because the knowledge, whatever he has earned, remains only at the level of information, not had affected him. Affective means he has to be refined. Affectivity happens through refining, through information. That's why you find engineers programming destruction of the Twin Towers in the US. Those of knowledge, access to information, they're supposed to know. We don't make a distinction between information and knowledge. So we think all of these people are knowledgeable people. They're educated, so they should be they should be knowledgeable. Educated, so should be knowledgeable. Now, educated doesn't mean information. Educated ought to mean that the information had changed them into positive, refined them into better existence by removing the impurities. If that process is not happened, you find doctors doing jihad, you find scholars doing jihad, you find academicians, of course there will be more, academicians doing jihad, picking up rifle and killing innocent people who do not know what's happening. Because he considers his mission as this. That's because whatever he finds, information, remains only at the level of information, doesn't descend down to his soul, to process, to program him to refinement, refine the human existence. Doesn't happen because it doesn't affect you. So this theory, you dig it from a text written in 3rd century BC, Nyaya Sutra of Maharishi Gautama. What more do you want to know about Bharat? When we said all those things, when you see this, what's the place name? They have found evidences of a tooth surgery. Archaeologists done 9,000 years ago. Just skip the name of the site from mine. So this is Bharat. And those who have not internalized Bharatiya Sanskriti is susceptible to this kind of dangers from external influence. Don't be surprised when you find people with PhDs turn into terrorism. People with medical degrees turn into terrorism. They're helpless. They're helpless because they are not refined. The whatever information remains only at the level of information, doesn't to refine them into authentic human beings. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Sri Ram.